Oh, you showed who they told that when you get excited, you wait for them. Good afternoon and welcome to the July 24th meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. And as you can tell, I am not President Joe Jenkins because in true Joe Jenkins fashion, he is currently somewhere, possibly wrapping up celebrating his birthday week out on the ocean. Now, if you really want to wish him a belated birthday, you can definitely do so by loading up on the 50/50 tickets because there's not too many guarantees in life, but today we have two. There's a 100% guarantee that Joe Jenkins will not win the drawing today, and there is a 0% chance of winning if you don't buy any tickets. So definitely get your tickets sooner than later because we're going to do the draw. And also, there's only 7 cars left in the deck, so we're getting down to the nitty gritty and good chances of winning. Speaking of tickets, I want to give a shout out to our ticket master, Eric Marcus, Jim Grundle for the website, Mike Zwick, Pete Bales, and Mark Weinstein for the program. And then, of course, our greeters today, Ryan and Jen. Jen, you ready for the invocation? Great.
And it's 10 verse. Yeah.
Good afternoon. On this beautiful Friday, would you join me in prayer? The Holy Creator, would you stay focused on the objectives we have for the world? Tranquility, a true brotherhood of man, freedom from hunger, from oppression, from sickness, the freedom to close in our own destinies. We reaffirm our commitment to our simple Rotary 4-way test, for which we all do support. Is it the truth, fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? We reaffirm our commitment to the high ethics in all we do. And we give thanks for the blessings, opportunities, and responsibilities that befall us in Rotarians. Amen.
Thanks, sir.
All right, I know we had some technical difficulties, so I don't think we have an attendance update, but I will say as of right now, we'll just say we have a record-breaking attendance here today until the official numbers are released. So thank you everyone for showing up. We have some guests today. Greta, to introduce your guests.
My guest today is Stacy Parsons. I think this is her 3rd time words. And outreach manager for the Green County.
All right, and then we have Kevin, who came on his own today. Kevin, want to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much for having me. Sponsorship, our home of Fairmore. I heard you guys were really active and doing a lot for the community, and I was telling my friend Greg that you need a bigger footprint for the community, not so I make sure that we're making a difference. And so I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much. So I'm the community outreach director, so this is my attempt to start that process and get it going.
Thank you. Demonstrating the true meaning of service above self. One of today's greeters is pulling double duty. If you notice, he welcomed you when you guys arrived, and now he's probably going to fine you for whatever you mentioned to him or didn't mention to him. So welcome.
Welcome, Anthony Mayor, fellow Rotarians, guests, and our featured speaker. This last Sunday, the world completed the World Cup, indeed. Closed the 23rd World Cup where Spain won, beating Argentina in extra time with a score of 1-0. This was Spain's 2nd World Cup victory, with their first in 2010. As probably is no surprise, according to World Atlas, soccer is the world's most popular sport. World Atlas estimates soccer has a fan base of approximately 3.5 billion. The listing of the top 10 most popular sports actually may surprise you. Can anyone give me a guess of what would be the second most popular sport as rated by fan base?
Cricket.
Boom, we have some sport experts in the room. Cricket is indeed the second most popular sport in the world, with an estimated fan base of 2.5 billion fans. What may be even more surprising is the third most popular sport.
Rugby.
No, not rugby. That is in the top 10. Not golf, not tennis. Hockey. Hockey is actually ranked the third most popular sport in the world at 2 billion in total fan base. Obviously, in the United States, American football is, but what's surprising is that compared to the rest of the world, American football is not even ranked in the top 10 most popular sports. And for those keeping track, the next World Cup will take place in 2030, hosted by Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. July 24th, 2026, which is, if you're friendly and still talk to your cousin on a weekly basis, today's National Cousins Day. Stop by your favorite fast food restaurant, because today is also National Drive-Through Day. And in the spirit of birthplace of aviation, today is National Amelia Earhart Day. Today in 1897, Amelia Earhart was born, a pioneer in aviation. Amelia Earhart was the first female to cross the Atlantic by airplane, and also the first woman to make a non-stop solo transatlantic flight, earning her the Distinguished Flying Cross. But Amelia Earhart was forever founded in the history books for her July 2nd, 1937 flight with Fred Newton, where they both disappeared over the Pacific Ocean while attempting to fly around the world at its widest point. Despite one of the most extensive air and sea searches in history, neither Earhart nor Newman were ever found, sparking enduring historical theories about what happened to their flight. Today in history, during every election, you always hear about the polls. This poll says this poll says that. Are these polls even accurate? Well, today in 1824, the first ever public opinion poll was released. This poll showed that candidate Andrew Jackson had a significant lead for president. What is even more interesting is the actual result of the 1824 election. There were 4 candidates for president: Andrew Jackson, John Quincy Adams, William Crawford, and Henry Clay. When the results were tallied, no candidate won a majority of either the popular vote or the electoral college. Andrew Jackson had won a plurality of both, with John Quincy Adams in second, William Crawford in third, and Henry Clay in fourth. Due to no candidate receiving a majority of the constitutionally required amount of electoral college vote, the 12th Amendment to the Constitution was enacted, which required a contingent election by the United States House of Representatives. The procedure only sent the top 3 candidates to the House for a vote, which means that Henry Clay did not advance. Even more interesting, though, Henry Clay was the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And what was dubbed the corrupt bargain, John Quincy Adams struck a deal with Henry Clay, and through Clay's influence, the House voted to elect John Quincy Adams as president over then favored Andrew Jackson. Adams then appointed Clay as Secretary of State. This corrupt bargain tarnished Adams' reputation, and Jackson seized the unpopular sentiment of it and ran against Adams for president in 1828 and won in a landslide. This event also fractured several political parties at the time and created a new political coalition that became the Democratic Party. I'm sure most of us have heard the phrase, there are only two things in life that are certain, death and taxes. From income taxes, sales taxes, property taxes, capital gain taxes, and so on, there seems to be a tax on almost everything. But what about a window tax? Yes, you heard that right. On the number of windows in a dwelling. Larger houses and those that had the means even had their windows bricked up to avoid the tax. So if you travel to the United Kingdom, you see her back during the day. But fear not, because today in 1851, sunlight and fresh air are once again tax-free because a long-hated window tax is abolished by the United Kingdom. Anyone here like Western movies? Well, I do, and one two. High Noon, starring Gary Cooper, was released and told the story of town marshal whose sense of duty is tested and must decide to either face a gang of killers alone or leave town with his new wife. This film gained critical acclaim not only for its deep storytelling of right and wrong, but also for its production. The film, a mere 85 minutes long, is told in real time. So a minute of runtime actually equates to a minute in the film. For his performance, Gary Cooper won the Oscar for Best Actor. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. The famous words by Neil Armstrong as he takes the first steps on the moon. And at 12:51 Eastern Standard Time in 1969, the crew of Apollo 11 returned home today. President John F. Kennedy remarked in his famous 1962 address at Rice University, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things not because they are easy, but because they are hard." Ironically, Ohio, obviously being the birthplace of aviation, is one of the top 3 states that produces astronauts. So it begs the question, what's going on in Ohio making people want to leave this planet? Some good news. Avocados are one of those so-called superfoods that many of us enjoy. Really fragile. As of 2024, 11 million metric tons of avocados were grown worldwide. But like the banana, the vast majority belong to a single variety, what's called the Hass avocado. These long, large, lasting avocados are produced through grafting, where a branch is taken off one avocado tree and attached to another to bear the exact same fruit. As a result, most avocados in grocery stores are genetically indistinguishable. That makes all past avocados vulnerable to the same threats. However, with a single disease or anything that could wipe out the entire population of avocados. But good news, as I mentioned, scientists recently trudging through the Nicaragua's rainforest have identified a hotbed of avocado species diversity. They suggest some of these species could be aid in supply chain diversification and boost sustainability for our favorite green avocado. Unfortunately, we've been accustomed to massive wildfires each year, and on average, around 7 million acres of land in the United States burn each year due to wildfires. Well, in Spain, they are combating wildfires with a very slow team of hard workers, donkeys. In the Donana National Park, staff have purposely released a group of donkeys to graze, freely turning potential fuel and shrubs and grasses in the dry climate into food. The donkey fire brigade concept is being replicated in other areas of Spain that seem to be at ever greater risk of fires due to their naturally dry forests. Now some jokes. How do you organize a space party? You plan it. My two horses say when they fall, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up." When I fell off the bed. Oh, sheet. I asked my dog what 2 minus 2 is. He said nothing. A person hails a taxi cab. During the commute, the passenger taps the taxi driver on the shoulder. The driver screams, loses control of the taxi cab, nearly hits an oncoming vehicle, and veers off the road, coming to a screeching halt. For a second, everyone in the cab was dead silent. Look, pal, don't ever do that again. You scare the living daylights out of me. The passenger was confused, but apologized. Sorry, I didn't realize a little too much. Well, the driver replied, well, it's not really your fault. You see, today is my first day as a cab driver. My old job was driving for a funeral home. And if you're looking for something to do today, I'm sure Randy can tell you all about it. But this weekend downtown, the annual Celtic Festival returns. So go enjoy the Irish festivities. And today's fines. If you were late or not wearing your badge, that's $1. If you've ever played cricket, that's $1. If you like Western movies, that's $1. And if you like avocados, that's $1.
Thank you, sir. That's some good sheets. Moving on with some other good sheets here. Anyone have any special announcements?
We can check it out.
Perfect.
Yeah. And maybe
Greta.
BFW is currently looking for nominations for firefighter of the year, educator of the year, police officer of the year, and EMT of the year. If you know somebody worthy of a nomination, please let me know.
Sir.
There's only 99 days to Halloween.
We're in double digits now. Any other special announcements before we get to Randy's happy bugs about what's coming up this weekend? Sir, you're up.
Okay, Celtic Festival this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, down. Come down and visit. My girls are dancing all 3 days, so be down all days. And then give a happy bug to, we just got done with active threat training between us and the police department. Did great, always love doing it. Conducting those trainings with the police department, I always get a lot of that out of it. Thank you.
All right, who else is happy?
I got a happy. So yeah.
First report. In case you haven't heard, I had a pretty major house fire. I want to give a shout out for all the people that offered help and thoughts and prayers. I appreciate it. And I want to give a special shout out to the fire department. Experience like this, and the fire department comes out and puts out the fire, you think you've got a pretty good fire department. But when your insurance investigator tells you they don't usually show up the next day after the fire, your fire department is really super. They not only showed up, but they said, is there anything we can do for you? I said, well, I got a couple safes in the basement. One of them was a coin collection that's pretty valuable, and another one with my wife's jewelry. They marched down 6 inches of water, waded through, pulled the safes out, brought them up for me. Great fire department.
Thank you.
I understand it was a total loss, but if you need someone to suck up that 6 inches of water, we got a guy back here. He's got it through. Right. Any other happy bugs? Mackenzie.
Tomorrow is my twin sister's birthday and Sunday is my birthday. So
Any other ones? All right, moving on to the 50-50. Now, Eric handed me this ticket, so if it is his, might have to launch a little internal investigation here. Last three numbers, 799. Got a winner.
And it's not Joe J.
Stop.
We look at four of diamonds, four big diamonds. Well, those are most, the winner's not in there, I took it out.
Makes sense. I know he's not on the Zoom, but I'm pretty sure I heard Joe just say yes, that pot roast. So remember that when he comes back tomorrow or next week. And make sure he doesn't win again. All right, Mark, you want to introduce our awesome speaker?
Well, it's my honor to introduce a guy I've respected for many years. I've known Steve DiOrio since 2012 when I became the executive director of public relations at Cedarville. Excuse me. Ironically, just before he departed WDTN for the first time. Throughout that time, I've seen firsthand his passion for broadcast journalism excellence, his steady leadership, and his commitment to developing the next generation of broadcasters. Steve is a Beavercreek guy, graduating from Beavercreek High School and Wright State University, and his career has come full circle. Beginning at WDTN in 1987 as an intern, he worked his way up through the ranks to become news director. And then after leading a unique university television station at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, where he mentored countless aspiring journalists. Steve returned to WDTN in 2024 as assistant news director. Steve is one of the best in the business. It's my honor to welcome Steve DiOrio to this platform. Steve D, come on. Thank you.
Put a 20 in your pocket later, thanks. No, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I do want to give a shout out to Mark. Mark is probably one of the best marketing PR people I've ever worked with. There's not a day that goes by that when I come into the newsroom that there's not an email from him offering up professors to talk about the specific topic or anything like that. So it's been great to work with Mark. He promotes the university like no other, to be honest, and I appreciate everything, we do at the station as well. As Mark said, I did grow up out here. I grew up over by Parkwood School. My dad still lives out here. He lives out off of 35 and Fairfield Road, so I'm out here a lot. I actually have a 6:42 a.m. tea time here tomorrow and Saturday, so I play out here every weekend. Probably should have brought my clubs and practice today because the past couple of weeks I've been bored. But as Mark said, I started out as an intern at Channel 2, and today I want to talk about the station itself and how we, the different positions we have, the shows that we have to offer, the different opportunities that we have. I started out as Mark, I worked my way up to become the news director. Unfortunately, when I left the station in 2012, it wasn't my doing. We had a new general manager come in. He wanted to bring his own boss in, which I get. I did have the opportunity to go to the University of Alabama. They owned a TV station there in Tuscaloosa. We did local news with a small professional staff, but we trained students in the communications broadcast field to go into the business. And that is one of the highlights of my career. I've been doing this is my 37th year in TV. I have former students who are working with Fox News, ABC News, NBC, and big markets. And one of the greatest stories I like to tell about that briefly is I had a student who called me up. She had graduated 4 or 5 years earlier, and she called up and said, "Hey, I'm sending you a contract. I have a job opportunity that I'm thinking about taking. I want you to take a look at the contract. He said, absolutely. I look at the contract, it's in a big market. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, you're taking this, right? Like, what did your parents say? She said, well, I haven't told my parents yet. I wanted to tell you first. I wanted you to see it. I was having a bad day, and I was like, you know what? This is why I'm doing this. So it was great. As Mark said, Channel 2 is my second tour. We do 50 hours of news a week. Now, I know some of you are probably saying, why do you do so much? There's not that much news in date. Well, research shows us that not everybody is watching at the same time. So especially in the morning, you may see the stories repeated 5, 7, 9. Well, people are getting up, they're getting ready to go to work, getting kids ready, they want to know what the weather's like, they may have the TV on, etc. So plus it is also a monetary thing for us. So it's cheaper for us to put local programming on than it is to do a syndicated show or anything like that. So our day starts out, we do a morning meeting at 9:45. All the reporters, producers, managers all get together what we're going to do. So the reporting now are multimedia journalists because they go out. Back when I first started, they didn't do this. They go out now, they shoot their own stories, they write their own stories, they edit their own stories. Now they have to write stories to the web page. So they'd have to do it all. The producer's job, when you're watching the 5 p.m. newscast, that producer puts together the show. It's an hour newscast that they put together. So they write other stories that the reporters aren't doing. They put graphics in, they do different things like that. We have a producer for 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6. The 6 o'clock does the 11 o'clock show. And we have a producer who does the 10 o'clock. And then we have 2 people in the morning that do, we go 4:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning. So we do a lot. Nexstar is our parent company. We're the NBC affiliate here. We're also the Dayton CW station. So we have those Nexstar companies in the world now with 275 stations, and they're in negotiations now to buy Tegna. So we'll be well over 300 stations that they want. So a typical day, like I said, for us, it's really going through at the morning meeting, deciding what stories we want to do. And we want to try to focus. We have to cover 12 counties here. So we go from, Montgomery County, Preble, Greene, Clark, up to Logan, over to, Mercer County and down. And we even have Wayne County, Richmond, Indiana. We try to decide what, the whole area, what people would be interested in the whole area. Now, granted, you may have a story here in Beavercreek that not everybody may be interested in, but it's still a big enough story to cover. So we're going to do that. We are in the process of assigning our MMJ reporters a county, meaning Kayla Ferris, who is one of our reporters, may be assigned to Greene County. Her responsibility is going to be to make contacts with the chief, the mayor, whoever, and call them, see if there's any stories going on, as well as in Xenia, Greene County, etc. So we're going to try that out and see how that works. So from there, the reporters will go out there, do their stories. Some people will come back to the station. Some people don't come back to the station. They all have laptops. They can edit in the field. We have the capability to do live shots wherever we can get cell phone internet service. It's basically a little small backpack that as long as we can get cell phone or Ethernet, we can go live. You don't see the big live trucks anymore. You don't see the big satellite trucks anymore driving around. Big satellite trucks are only used for, like Ohio State football games or Alabama football games or things like that. Throughout the day, things will change. One of the big questions I always get as far as stories, why do you always show the crime? And I get it. Trust me, I get it. But research, when you do research, we have people who do research for us. Viewers say that weather is number one. Of course, everybody wants to know about weather. but they want to see the crime thing. One of the things that we do really well is we have a lot of stories that are positive stories, and we are looking for positive stories. We don't want to just put the crime, fires and the shootings and all that stuff on. We want positive stories. And we have different types of stories that we do. Every Wednesday, we do Tell Me Good News. It's a good news story. We do Skills to Succeed, talks about jobs and businesses. So we have a variety of topics that we look to do on a weekly, if not daily basis. So our 4 o'clock newscast that we do is, again, news of the day, different topics like that. 5 o'clock is somewhat the same, but we do have a live guest that we try to do every day on a various topic. This is not really a hard news story. This is, yesterday we had a person, because, we get ready to go back to school here in a few weeks for people. We have back to school expert on talk about, people, how parents should prepare their students. 6 o'clock is a half-hour show that really is just the day of news stories. And then 10 and 11 o'clock, we try to do different stories at night as well as the top stories of the day. Our morning show, again, the key focus is on weather and traffic. Because, again, people are getting ready to go to work. They want to know what the weather's going to be for the day, how to dress their kids to school, etc. We have the only sports team in town. So a lot of stations across the country have dropped local sports, which I don't understand personally. I think it's a big deal for us. Operation Football has been in play for 43 years. And, we try to hit Operation Basketball as well. We cover high school sports like no other. It's a great advertising tool for us because obviously we make money selling advertising. So that's a plus for us. We cover Wright State, UD. We do go to Bengals and Reds some, but again, if you're a fan, you already know the score number one, or you probably watched it, or you're watching ESPN. So that's why we try to focus on high school sports more. We have other shows that we do. We have a new magazine style show that'll be in play next year. It'll be its 15th year. It's called Living Date. It's about businesses in the community and allowing your businesses to talk about your business and to talk about how you're supporting the community. That's somewhat of a sales-driven area, but it's an hour-long show that runs from 12 to 1. Now, one of the things I do want to talk about is how do you get your news? Most people right here, right? Anymore, 54% of people get their news now from your cell phone. You're logging on to whatever, news brief or whatever. So we have now a WDTM Plus app, is what it's called. We are producing local shows on the app. So right now we are doing an 11 a.m. news show on the app that you can get from Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick that you can blow up on your smart TV. We are now expanding that. Starting September 14th, that 11 a.m. show is now going to be on WDTN. So we're getting back into the ball game for that midday noon type show. This show's a different format. It talks about 5 top stories of the day. It talks about weather. We have a reporter in there talking about what their story is for the day. We also have a guest that comes on. It can be a puppet, and most of the time it's a positive guest talking about, again, a business or anything like that. Sorry, lost my train of thought. One of the things that I like to share with people is the fact that now that Cheryl McHenry finally retired, that we have one of the oldest news teams in the station, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. Brian Davis, our chief meteorologist, just celebrated his 44th year at the station yesterday. Jamie Jurasic's been there 25. Jack Bull's been there 36. Jack started out in sports, switched over to news, which was a great move for him. And then Kelly King, who's also local, has been there 20 years. So we have a lot of people who are invested in the community, which is what our station is all about. We like to invest in the community. We have different events. Coach for Kids has been going on 44 years. As I mentioned, Operation Football has been on. Food for Friends has been going on 45 years. So we are a community-based TV station. But getting to the world of news, local news isn't going anywhere. I don't care what people think or what people tell you. It's not going away. It's very important. And I'm not just saying this because I'm in the news business for local news to be here. We're not like the national news. The national news has changed so much that I don't even watch it because it's very opinionated on whatever. But local news is here and it's not going to go away. That's why, as I mentioned, we try to pick news that matters to our whole viewing area. And that's, it's what you're talking about at the water cooler, what you're talking about at work, just the different topics. And again, I want to get back to the fact that everybody always thinks it's negative, and it is. I'm not going to lie, but we want to present the positive stuff. I met with the chief when I first came back, and one of the things I said to him and his command staff was, we always don't want to tell the bad stories. You guys do a lot of great things, like you just mentioned, the fire department. That's a great story. That's a great story for us to tell, to be honest.
Good.
Those things need to come out, especially in this day and age. And, that's why we're here, but we have to know about it. You guys have got to share those opportunities. And, as the chief and I were talking, I said, look, there's going to be a time though that we're going to have to do something that's not positive, but we've got to just work through it, do it, and move on. And they completely understood that, which was great. I also want to hear from you though, too. I'm a firm believer that I want to hear your thoughts on what we do well, and what we don't do well. I want to know if you don't like something. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Trust me. I've been doing this a long time. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But that's the only way for us to get better. If you don't like something that we're not doing, or you don't like how we cover something, when I open it up for questions here, I seriously want to know that, because again, we have a young staff. The business has changed so much. Dayton, when I first was here, was a second stop for people.
Mm-hmm.
A first stop would be Lima, Ohio, or Zanesville, or a small market. Dayton would be second. Then you would go on to like Cincinnati or New York or wherever. Now, our last 5 hires have been directly off campuses. So that's a challenge for us. That's one of the things that when I came back, that was fortunate, because I worked with the students in Alabama, so I knew, and I could relate to them. I can sit down with them. I can get on them without having to yell at them. Like back in the day, he would just get yelled at. I mean, I remember my first week there, my news director just chewed me up and down. But now we've got to really work with them. We've got to push them. We've got to train them. And they're going to go into bigger markets. There's no question. If they want to stay here, that's great. We want people to stay here. But they're going to go to bigger markets because we have some really young, talented staff, especially on air. But that's the challenge we face every day in the business, is maintaining a good staff. Sometimes I think we try to do too much at once, but we have to be aggressive to do that. We're in a battle. We're number 2 in the ratings here. Channel 7 is number 1. It's a legacy station. Everybody, heck, my dad still watches it. Pisses me off. I mean, I call him up in the morning to check on him. Just, hey, okay. Yeah, he goes, hey, Channel 7 had this story. I'm like, so did we. Well, I didn't see it on here. But you're watching Channel 7. So, but I get it. They're a strong legacy station. We have made great progress, even in the year I've been back, of the ratings. and I don't, Gabby, James are real good friends of mine. We're competitors during the day, but we're friends. And they do a great job. And then we, 22 is a third here in Dayton. What questions do you guys have for me? I'm more of a question here. Certainly.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I occasionally pick up news stories on Channel 2 from News Nation. What is it?
So News Nation is next. Our parent company owns News Nation.
Oh, okay.
Right.
How you choose what stories from News Nation you pick up?
So we get a daily list from them of what stories they're doing throughout the day. So essentially, we're an NBC station, but we don't really use NBC video anymore. Our company has grown so big that they basically have their own network, so to speak, like News Nation. So we get a daily sheet of what they are offering each day. They also have a Washington bureau that we get stories from them as well. So that's how we can pick and choose what we do throughout the day. Yeah.
So advertisers, can they choose the time blocks that they want to be in a news program, or what roles a producer play?
Well, that's more of a sales base. So our sales department, we have a sales department with a general sales manager, local sales manager, and then you have account executives that'll go out and sell advertising. So through them is where they get to choose where they want their spots. They work out that deal on where they want their spots.
They give it to the producer.
Well, we really don't, they program that throughout the whole day.
Oh, I see.
So the crazy thing is that we're automated, number one. So our new broadcasts are computer programmed. Meaning we don't have a single person in the studio other than the anchors. The cameras are all robotic. The director of the newscast program the shows, the news shows, and all they do is click on them. They click on the mouse, they click in the program, and it moves forward that way. But getting back to sales, they will set up a log throughout the day of what time each advertiser spot runs. That's all done out in Indianapolis at a hub. Wow. So that's all computerized too. Yeah. Back in the day, it used to be straight, put it in type thing. I mean, I remember hearing Omar Williams talk about how he used to have to do, Black's beer, the best beer, Tanglin, Georgia. Take a sip of beer, whatever. But yeah, that's all computerized now. And if you notice, if you watch and you see the anchors, they look like they have something in their hand.
Yeah.
That's the teleprompter. They're running their own teleprompter. Yeah.
Okay, so you do a 1 hour broadcast on CW prior to the 11 o'clock news.
Correct.
How much of that from of the anchor stuff, like weather and sports and the anchors, is taped and then shown at 11, or is it all done live again?
It's all live. It's all live. The anchors are all live in both shows. So literally, they wrap up on the CW at 10 o'clock at 10:58. They take 5 steps, they're back on the anchor desk, and we roll the open and we're on WD10. Yeah, it's all live. It's just like, so the morning show, for example, we go on at 4:30 a.m. And trust me, years ago when they first started that, I was totally against it. That's probably what got me fired. I told the corporate guy that's crazy. But we go 4:30 to 5:30. It's just on NBC on WD10. At 5:30, then it picks up on the CW as well. We have to stop at 7 a.m. on WD10 to go to the Today Show. But it stays on the CW then until 9 a.m. So, and then from 4:30 to 6:30 in the afternoon, we're on WD10, and then 10 o'clock at night. Then on the weekends, we're on from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday morning on WD10. We do 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock, half hour on WD10, and we do a half hour at 10 o'clock on the CW. Yeah. it's a lot of news. It really is. But you get a variety of people. You got to make sure you try to reach everybody. Um, so, yeah,
So you said you want to hear about good news stories, right?
absolutely.
What's the best way to let you know about a story that's going to be coming up, or activity that's going to be coming up?
So either call the station, ask for the assignment desk, or we have a news tips email. I have a card too.
So we did that with the VFW for our day of service and it didn't work.
So it came out.
We tried for a month long. We even sent some of our members to the station to stand outside and try to talk to someone in the little entrapment area.
Nobody came out.
No one came out. No one ever responded back to the emails I sent.
I'm going to talk to the entrepreneurs. I can't answer that. I don't know. That's, I mean, now, let me specify too, like, we will do our best to try to cover everything, but that should not have happened. Somebody
Say
came out.
no,
Yeah.
respond back to.
Well, I will tell you that the response should be, thank you for sending this, appreciate it, we're gonna put it into our assignment file. The best thing we can say at that time is we will try to cover.
Right.
Because it just depends on what's going on that day, what time of day it was, different things like that. But we do make a conscious effort. But if you guys came to the station, somebody should have came.
Several times, at least 3 times.
Yeah, somebody should have came up and talked to you about that. I apologize for that. That's, yeah.
So why isn't the news crew here covering you doing this?
Because I told him not to. Nobody wants to see my ugly face on TV.
Bob Phillips, Carl Day, what's the status today? I know they're retired, but are they,
They're both deceased.
oh, they both did?
Yeah, yeah.
Know that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Steve, so back to what Greta said. So how likely would DTN be to, if she took her good iPhone and shot horizontal video and sent it to you, how likely would that make it?
That'd be great. Yeah, you can do even still pictures too.
And
If you don't like to shoot video, but even still pictures, we can definitely put that type on. Yeah, that's not.
Tips.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anything like that, if you do it. But I do want to check on another thing. That's not right. But yeah, if you happen to shoot anything video wise or still.
What about the reported app on here? Did the reported on
Yeah.
app? Does that work?
It does, yeah. So when you send news tips at WDTN.com, comes to every single person at Beavercreek, so does reporting. So there's really no excuse that we should not see something. But those should work.
Steve,
Yep.
so I'm going to stay on this conversation.
Yeah.
There's nothing though better than having a relationship with the people. So that cuts through a lot of noise. Eric, why isn't DTN out here to cover this today? Well, I sent them 2 photos already of Steve. I sent to you and I sent them to the general manager. Hopefully it'll get on something tonight. So now, Steve, question to you, maybe a critique.
Okay.
Which is fun, I did that last year. So you guys do a great job in sports, and you do a great job of covering UD and Wright State, right? Why not cover the little ones like Wilmington, Central State, Wilberforce, Wittenberg, and then that one out in Cedarville?
Yeah. Gary, you have brought up a great point, and that actually is a discussion we just had last week, because when I came back, that's been something that I brought up, and it's been a battle, to be honest with you. So we need to do a better job of that, because it isn't just Dayton and Wright State, like you said. There are viewers who are Cedarville fans, or viewers who are Central State, or we need to do a better job of planning and covering those games for sure. No, you're 100% correct on that. And those are the things I'm looking for. Like, what can we do better? Like I said, we're not perfect. I mean, we need the goal is every day for us to be And one of I'm not the news director, but I still get it. Emails, spelling. Oh my gosh, if we misspell a word, it's like the end of the world, which it should be. We are paid to be correct. We misspell words a little too frequent for me, but it goes back to the fact that we're young. That shouldn't be an excuse, and it's not an excuse. It's not paying attention to detail. Look, I was at Alabama for 11 years, and that's all I heard Coach Saban say. Produced his weekly press conference, and every day it was, we've got to pay attention to detail. Oh, boom, drilling it in the football players' heads, and that's what I took and tried to drill it in our students.
Can I mention my big pet peeve?
Oh, please.
So you're watching the show, and you've got the big 2 News logo down in the right-hand corner, and it's blocking important information that's trying to be shown that you can't read. Like, they're talking about the sports scores, and the scores are blocked even as they're going. You have no idea what's going on and what the score was. And they're telling about he scored, he did this, he another this, then they did that, and it's covered up. Or something else is covered up that you can't see. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that scoreboard is from the actual TV highlights.
You understand that?
But you can't, but at the end of that story, at the end of the highlights, we always put the scoreboard up. No, I get it. I've seen that.
It does cover up other things.
It does, but see, and that's why the scoreboard is there, like per FCC rules, we have to have a logo. Now, can we put it up top? Probably could.
Could you make it smaller?
Can't make it, that's the smallest spot. But if you put it up top, and it's on a Scott Street, people will look up at that and look at that. I'll watch the actual video.
Yeah.
Of the story. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
Do you guys use AI? And have you considered using it for like the spelling, grammar?
We use AI a little bit, but we have not considered that. Yeah. That's a good question. What else? Come on, it's gotta be something.
I got one for you. So you mentioned there's a handful of young people that start there and use it as a rocket ship to go on to bigger, better things.
Right.
Who are some that we might know of that started there and now are doing national or huge things?
Yeah. With Fran Charles, we used to be in sports at our place, and Fran was on MLB Network for a while. He's now doing play-by-play for CBS Sports. Network-wise, Dave Calabro went to Indianapolis. He was in sports as well. He is the voice of the Indy 500 now. Has been for several years, actually. He actually retired from the TV station over there. Just does the Indy stuff now. That's a good question. You stumped me.
I'll give you another one.
Help me out.
Paula Ferris.
Paula started out at our place, went to 22, and then she's a Cedarville grad, that's why. But you helped me out. Yeah, she went to ABC to Good Morning America. I'm not sure what she's doing now.
She's got her own podcast down in South Carolina.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like our business isn't easy. It's not. It's a lot of time, a lot of pressure. I'm gonna be honest, you don't make a lot of money, but you have to have a lot of passion to do it. And unfortunately, the students that I had in Alabama, there were several really, really good that got out of the business because it just took its toll on them. And the money, they can make more money being PR communications people, which for our industry is not good. We need those people.
Still got you.
Well, it's a good point. I should have thought of that because actually, Phil Donahue Day.
When is that?
It's in September. I don't know the exact date. Yeah, so for those of you, Phil started out at Channel 2,
Yeah, right.
1969, I think it was. And there was so if you've never been to the station, it's an old skating rink. They built it as a skating rink, so it's big oval shape. And there was a wing down at the end of the hallway. They call that the Phil Donahue wing. Now it's just, I don't even know what's down there. Nobody's probably been out there in 30 years. But we have a great facility. The inside our newsroom is top state of the art. The WDTM Plus that I mentioned that we do, that you can download on your smart TVs. We have the 11 a.m. show that we do. We have other shows that our staff does. So Melissa Barrington, one of our meteorologists, does a show called Under the Umbrella. It's weather-related type stories. We have sports overtime that Joey, T. Berardino, and Kayla Smith talk about a variety of different sports. Jack Pohl and Josh Haynes do a show called The Pole Position, which it's supposed to be about sports, but they've probably done 10 shows and not once have they talked about sports. Those are the two biggest goofballs. Our news director actually is a big bourbon guy, and he does a show on bourbon and goes to different places and things like that. We have a producer, two producers, and a digital person, web producer, who do a story or do a show on ghosts in the different areas that ghosts may be in houses or buildings or whatever. We have 20 shows right now. So it's pretty cool that, they're doing these things on their own, but it's part of the ATM Plus.
Paul Dixon. That used to be a program on there. Was it?
Did it really?
Yeah, I was on it a couple of times myself. It was at Channel 2.
Oh,
Yeah. Paul Dixon.
I've heard the old stories about Omar doing big time wrestling on Saturday nights live and different things like that. Yeah. Oh, that was my first paying job. When I was an intern. The day I got hired, I got to spend the week in Miami for the Bengals 49ers Super Bowl game.
Oh, wow.
And everybody was like, "Oh, this new kid's getting." Well, I field produced for Omar. I had to make sure he had all the scripts. I had to make sure I got him the live shots. I, interview rooms and things like that. So I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I get paid to go watch the Super Bowl. But I've been very fortunate myself in this business. I've got to do a lot of things, a lot of good things, cover a lot of not so good things. I flew to Oklahoma City for when they had the bombing there. We were there for a week. I was at 9/11, covering that for a week and a half. I've covered tornadoes. I've covered political conventions. Obviously, I'm a sports nut, so I got to cover Ohio State, the 2002 national championship game. I covered the Reds the World Series in Oakland, so got to do some cool things. I've been very, very fortunate. When I got let go in 2012, I seriously thought about getting out of the business, but then this job came up in Alabama. I wasn't looking to move. I had a daughter who was a freshman in high school when it just graduated, but we decided to take the plunge. It was a good 11 years down there. We came back here for family health reasons. Mother-in-law was sick and my wife was the primary. So, but it's been a great move back for me. I thoroughly enjoy the business. I enjoy working with our staff, trying to make them better. And again, local news isn't going anywhere. It's not. I mean, we've got an obligation to provide the stories, and we're not there to cause harm or disruption or whatever you want to say. We're there to provide local news. And again, if you don't agree with it, pick up the phone and call me. I want to know, because that's the only way we're going to get better. It really is. A gentleman called me last week. Why do we, cut in during weather when there's only one storm in Mercer County? We have to. We're obligated to. It's a tornado warning in Salina and all that. We have to. I'm sorry you live in West Carolina. It's not raining there. It's sunny. I mean, but that's, but that's the only way we're going to get better.
Thank you.
Hope I made sense.
As always, our fun and awesome tradition, which Steve you'll learn here, is each week on behalf of our speaker, Beth, who's watching virtually, does a fantastic job of picking out a book that will be donated on your behalf to the Greene County Library, which I'll get your signature here in just a minute. I don't know if she stalked you or has friends that know you, but she definitely nailed this one. The book is A Year of Good News, 52 good news stories from around the world. So I will get your autograph here in just a minute. And then in honor of you and your career, I have some breaking news for everyone here, except for those that probably have had this pop up on your phone multiple times in the past hour. But 41-year-old LeBron James has signed a 2-year deal with the 76ers, which will now take him into playing his 24th and 25th season in the NBA. And a fun fact, the average length of an NBA player's career is right around 5 years. So he is definitely exceeding expectations there. Just a reminder, August 4th, we'll be doing our first service project over at Be Hope Church. Next week, we will have the park manager, Ivy Ortman from Ohio's Department of Natural Resources, talk about the Great Council State Park. Be sure to check out beavercreekrotary.com/programs to see all of our incredible speakers that are coming up. And if you have not by now liked, subscribed, followed, or commented on any of our Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube content, that will be that's an old habit. I'm sorry. I won't take that away from Brian. You get it. Be sure to follow us and do all those things. And then if you haven't already, take a look at Steve and his company's information up here. And of course, we'll have that posted on our socials later today. Anything else for the good of the club? All right, everyone will please rise for the pledge. And Steve, if you want to do the honors of leading us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic, one nation, under God. Very good.